La Liga president Javier Tebas putting money over the integrity of his product is not exactly breaking news. But the latest news that La Liga is going to try and play league games in the United States, possibly as early as 2025, is an absolute travesty. And we're going to talk about why today here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub. Welcome back to Pints and Punditry here at the Pitchside Pub, and today we're going to talk briefly about the news that just came out recently where La Liga president Javier Tebas has announced that they have the go-ahead to play La Liga games in the United States, possibly as early as 2025, after some legal finagling here in the United States and having to work through FIFA's regulations, which typically just takes money to overcome. But before we get into this topic, because it's a tough one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me down below so you can follow the channel. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Pitchside Pub. You can chime in with your opinion there. Get down in that comment section too. I'd love to hear your opinion, especially if you are a Spanish fan, a fan of a Spanish club, or an American fan. What do you think about this? And if you haven't already, check out the website pitchsidepub.com. So this has been something that La Liga, and specifically La Liga president Javier Tebas, has talked about for a while. And it's very clear they want to expand the reach of La Liga to the United States. And that part is understandable. The United States is still a relatively untapped market for European football. The Premier League has made great strides in America. Their agreement with NBC to broadcast games has been a huge financial success for them. Hell, it's a large reason why I have this channel. It's because I got into the sport because I had access to the sport. Now, here in the States, we have access to La Liga through ESPN. You have to have ESPN Plus, I believe. I have it. But you do have access to all the games. But it's not on actual television nearly as often as the Premier League is. So that is still a massive, massive untapped market for La Liga. And tapping into that should be a major goal of Javier Tebas and La Liga. So that in and of itself is not the problem. It's how we're going about it here. The television revenue is fine. Broadcast your games all over the world, and you should make it as well packaged and easy to access as possible. But playing games in another country is a whole other conversation, particularly for domestic leagues, because you're exactly that. You are a domestic league. This is the Spanish league. You can't play it anywhere else outside of Spain. And that was actually the rule that FIFA has in place when they initially said that La Liga could not do this. The rule on the books is that you cannot play a competition outside of the area of jurisdiction, which would mean, La Liga games have to be in Spain, Premier League games have to be in England, Bundesliga games have to be in Germany, and so on and so forth. And that was challenged in American courts, and a quote-unquote agreement was reached so that now they're going to be able to, which really just means enough money changed hands, or the threat of a lawsuit took place, or what have you, and basically we're going to look the other way on this. We're going to change the rule. And it's really a shame. And listen, I'll be honest, as an American, if one of these games is within about 200 miles of me, I'll probably go, or I'll try, if my schedule works, because I'm not getting to Spain. So when am I going to see real La Liga action? So I understand why this is a draw for La Liga. But I'm saying it's not the right thing to do. And I understand how sort of naive that is to expect a major entity like La Liga, where there's millions, if not billions of dollars on the line in various ways, expect them to give up some of that money to do the right thing. I understand how naive that is. But that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. And you are taking a game away from two fan bases each time you do this, right? Two teams have to play. That is a home game, so the home team's fans are really the ones getting hit here. And there's a lot of traveling within the country, away fans go support their teams. They're not coming to the United States. That's not happening, just like I can't get to Spain. So it's hurting the fan base, the local fan base. And I'm all for the growth of the game. And anybody, any business owner, any president with any sort of marketing wherewithal, should be trying to grow their game and should be tapping into this American market. But you can't grow your product at the expense of your existing customer base. That's business 101. You don't want to exploit what you have to get more because you're just going to end up replacing them. And no, Spanish fans are not going to stop watching their boyhood club because they played one game overseas, but this is how it starts. This is how it begins. We see this already in American sports. It started with the NFL. I don't know if it started with the NFL, but the NFL is doing it right now where they had one game in England a year, and now it's a game in England and a game in Germany, and now I think we're up to 5 or 6 games a year are overseas, and Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, would like to have every team play at least one overseas game a year at some point, and he has been open about wanting to have a conference, a part of the league over in Europe. And that at least would differentiate it. That would bring it into the equation in full, not just sending teams from Jacksonville, Florida over to play in Munich. But we see it here, and I don't love it here either. I don't love when Major League Baseball opens up with a 3-game series in Japan in the middle of the night. It takes away from those fans. Now in baseball you've got 162 games, so taking a couple out of the equation is not the end of the world. But in the NFL, you've got 17. And in European football, you've got 36 to 38, depending on how many teams are in your league. And so to miss one of your 17, 18, 19 home games a year is a big deal. That's a big deal. And so I just don't like it. I understand the money grab. I understand the revenue. But it's wrong. It's wrong. It's reprehensible. It's borderline corrupt, particularly because there are rules in place to prevent this from happening, and now they're going to be overruled or just flat out ignored. I expect nothing less from FIFA, frankly, and I expect nothing less from La Liga and Javier Tebas. But I wish it wasn't the case. I wish it wasn't the case because it's the wrong thing to do. There are other ways to tap into the American market, plenty of digital ways, plenty of TV rights, plenty of content ways to make your product more accessible, to draw fans like myself into your league, and it just doesn't need to be done this way. You want to draw fans into your league, make it more competitive. Make more than 2 or 3 teams have a shot of winning. That's part of why the Premier League is growing the way it is, because more and more teams have a shot every year. Don't come at me and say Manchester City's winning every year. Look at the race we have this year and the depth and the competitiveness. So La Liga, you should be working on competitive balance, not taking your home games and moving them to the United States. So that's my rant. I don't like it. I don't know if I would go to a game or not. If it comes near me, it would be tough to pass up as an American who's not going to get to Spain anytime soon. But I'd feel a little dirty doing it. I'm not going to lie. Might do it anyway, but I wouldn't. I still don't think it's the right thing to do. And maybe that means I should boycott it. We'll see if that becomes an issue or if that's a problem I have to deal with at some point. But not the right way to handle this. I would love to get your thoughts down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Are you a Spanish fan? Are you an American fan? Are you just a neutral in this argument? Either way, get down in that comment section. Let me know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter at PitchsidePub. You can join in the conversation there as well. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me down below. And of course, if you haven't checked out the website yet, pitchsidepub.com, go ahead and do that for me as well. Thanks as always for joining us here on Pints and Punditry at the Pitchside Pub.